It's Coach Greg Doucette. I'm back in Halifax from competing at the Toronto Pro. And the number one question people have been asking me in private messages is, what did you take to compete? So I'm going to explain in detail my complete cycle with an explanation of why, when, how, and all that good stuff. Before I get into that, I must remind you how I am not a doctor, nor am I your doctor. Never do steroids or SARMs without the advice of a doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm just some dude that likes to be in shape, that doesn't know anything, okay? So don't listen to anything I say. Don't even watch this video, okay? This is just purely for entertainment. Just take with it what you will. Do not break the law. Don't do anything illegal ever in your life. Never break the law, okay? Don't be like me, except for eat French toast and popcorn. That you can do. All right, so we'll start at 4 weeks out because I really want the video to not be 29 minutes long, okay? So, as you know, I was on HRT, 120 milligrams a week, and then I started prepping for the show, and then I added things. And you probably watched the video before where I started with, I was doing LGD, and then I did RAD 140, and then I added VAR, and so here I am adding more stuff. I'm going to get into everything and explain why, and I hope that you all learn a lot from it, okay? Okay, this is what I did at 4 weeks out. I have it all written down. Okay, 40 milligrams of Anavar a day. I usually took it 20 milligrams first thing in the morning. Often I was getting up at 5. And then I was taking 20 milligrams an hour or two before the gym, which was usually mid-afternoon. Okay, 40 milligrams of Anavar a day. Okay, so that's what I did 4 weeks out. I also did Primo, 300 milligrams per week. Primo, Bolin, and Enthate. That is an injectable it's not a testosterone, an injectable steroid. I also did Masteron, 300 milligrams per week. I also injected 400 milligrams of testosterone per week. Okay, so I'll explain each one now. Primo is a very low risk, low water retentive, it's not going to convert to estrogen and not cause gyno and just provide a slow, steady build of muscle. It's one of the healthiest steroids you can use, has the least amount of side effects, the least suppressive, however, it's still suppressive. Masteron is very similar to Primo. It's going to give you no estrogenic side effects, no water retention, make you get a very hard, lean look. Testosterone is basically the building block of a cycle. That is the base of any cycle. You should always have testosterone at least at 100 milligrams a week as a base if you want to add things on top of that. But test is the granddaddy of steroids. It's basically the one to take, okay? It will convert to estrogen and you will get gyno if you're prone to it. So you do have to be concerned with possible side effects from that, okay? Because of that, I added Arimidex and I took 1 milligram of Arimidex every 2 days. I had zero gyno, no water retention. I looked dry and hard the entire time and had no worry that I was having an issue with testosterone, okay? What else did I do? Well, I had a hard time sleeping because when you diet this hard, you have a hard time sleeping. So I started with 10 milligrams of THC as an oral liquid type thing. It's marijuana, right? And so it's in oral digestible form, so it lasts a long time. I take that about an hour to 2 hours before bed, and it helps me sleep better, okay? Other preps, I would have to use sleeping pills all the time, so this prevented that. It is legal in my country, so don't take it if it's not legal in your country, okay? Don't break the law. It's not illegal here. I go to the liquor store, everyone's buying vodka, I'm buying weed. It's in the same store, okay? So this is just what we can do here. Pretty cool. Canada's awesome, okay? Next, fat burners. All I took at this point was GW, and I was taking 20 milligrams a day. I had taken 10 prior, and I was at 20 by now. 20 actually sooner than this. But GW is like my favorite fat burner, and it gives me endurance and lets me train longer and harder, and I just feel way better with it, okay? Other than that, I took pre-workout, okay? So like an hour before the gym, shake it up, pre-workout energy, like, you know, like something with caffeine. It doesn't matter what one you take. They're all the same, really. Take the one that you like, okay? Is that it at 4 weeks? That is it. Okay, so moving into 3 weeks, we're getting closer, okay? Oh, and before I get into 3 weeks, if you want to compare what I took, I have my 2012 when I turned pro cycle on YouTube. So if you just type my cycle to turn pro or look at my old videos, you will see and can compare. So for some of you who just heard what I just said I took, you'd be like, holy shit, he took so much stuff. Trust me. That is not a lot of stuff. It's basically an intermediate cycle. It's more than I would suggest a beginner take. It's for sure more than a novice user should take. It's more like what I would take at a year 2 or 3 of your steroid use. Now, I'm at like year 10, okay? So for me, it's like way less than I would have taken. I would have... Tren alone at, say, 500 milligrams, which I used to take, would be stronger than this entire cycle by a mile. Just that. And I was taking that and all this and 5 times more, okay? 3 weeks out, I added T3 for fat burning at 15 micrograms twice a day. T3 is, it's going to raise your metabolism. You're going to burn more fat without doing anything. And it gives you a warm feeling when I take it. And mine was liquid. Okay, it's not like some fancy pharmaceutical. It's just liquid stuff, and it boosts your metabolism. Okay, T3. Clen. I started 10 micrograms of Clen. That's all you need at the start. You take more, you might get shakes. You might get a headache. Clen is not healthy. It is not good for your heart. So don't take it unless you're like really serious. It's literally more dangerous than steroids, than most steroids. However, steroids get a bad reputation, mostly for women, because it can change your voice and stuff, and women abuse it, and they take the wrong ones, and they take too much, and then they get the side effects, and it looks bad. But Clen can damage your heart. It's not the safest thing in the world. You got to use it sparingly. 10 micrograms, I have people write me all the time. Yeah, so my coach started me at 40 for week 1, and then week 2, 80, then week 3, 120, and then nothing, and then I go back and it's so abusive, it's insane. So I started at 10, and when I don't feel it a whole lot, then I go to 15. Then when I didn't feel it a lot, I went to 20. That happened throughout that week. I also started Fragment 176-191. It's a part of the GH. It burns fat. I injected this twice a day, 250 micrograms in the morning and at night before I ate anything, and then before bed, and it burns fat. Boom. It's a needle injection, subcutaneous, I use a 31 gauge needle, but regardless, I use that, okay? Everything else was the same. There was no change. I still use the VAR and the Primo and the Math. The whole thing was the same, all the same, okay? So I can move now to 2 weeks out. I stopped taking testosterone. Just done. No more test. Why? Why would I do that? Test holds water and converts to estrogen. Holding water on stage makes you look like you're holding water on stage. Boy, that makes sense. So you don't take testosterone before a show because it makes you look more shred, more ripped, more dry, more hard, more peeled, more grainy, okay? Less full, less full. Full is awesome in a tank top like this. If I bulked up and beefed up and stand here, yes, I am big. But you take your shirt off and you want grainy, ripped, like, what's wrong with his abs? Why are there bumps all over it? You want dry, shredded, grainy, stupid lines in your hamstrings and glutes and the whole thing. You want no test. Get rid of that stuff, okay? No test. Now, because there's no test, Well, then the cycle just decreased in power significantly. Now remember, Masterone and Primo are only about 2/3 as strong as test. So where I was doing 300 milligrams of Masterone and 300 milligrams of Primo, that's about as strong as 200 test, okay? Now don't ask 5,000 questions about why that is. It's a little bit weaker. It's not going to put on as much muscle. So if somebody were to do 600 milligrams of like the Primo and Mast, and someone else were to do 400 test, they would gain an equal amount of muscle tissue, actual, muscle. Bruh. Water, the tests are going to gain more weight, but I'm talking about like quality, freaking hard, grainy muscle. Okay, so because of that, my Primo, I upped the dose. Boom, it's going up. 400. Masterone, 400. Now that's making up for some of the test. Now, why didn't I raise it more? Because I'm trying to be healthy. If I wanted to be like Superman on stage, I would have tripled the dose. But guess what? I'm like 8 pounds over my weight class. I can't gain all this muscle or I won't make the weight class anyway. So I'm like, what's the point? I'm going to have to just dehydrate all the muscle off anyway. So there's no point in adding like a crazy amount. Now, if there was no weight limit, I would have wanted to take way more, but then I wouldn't be as healthy. But then I would have taken more tests before, and I would have taken more of everything, okay? But then I would have been in the 212 class. Then I would have been competing the same way as I did the last time. And then I would have probably placed the same. Oh, and FYI, I placed 10th out of 19. Okay, I felt I looked amazing. I thought I was going to place higher than 10th, but it's a beauty pageant. It's modeling. I'm just not as hot as some of these guys, I'm old, okay? You can argue it all you like. All I see is when I look at the people, I'm like, I feel I look better than a few of the guys I competed against, but I guess I didn't, For me personally, the only thing I see is my waist from left to right, like from here to here, is not like this big. And some of these guys, their waists are smaller genetically, so even though they don't have any muscle, they're not ripped, and they're not like freaky, they have like such small waists. And so that even though their shoulders aren't super wide, it makes them look wider. And even though their legs have no real big muscles or definition, it just gives them more of a, I guess like a V shape, kind of. And so they have better genetics. That's genetics, okay? It's like some people wrote me and said, why don't you switch to men's physique? Then you can get even smaller. And I would do horrible in men's physique because there, you need even smaller waist. So do you know who could beat me? Guys in men's physique, if they put on any size on their legs, they'd all walk out and it'd be like, holy, look at the shape. This waist is so small. They'd all do amazing. Men's physique guys with muscle, that's classic physique, literally. Bodybuilders with less muscle, it's not really men's classic physique. You want tiny, stupid, small waist, like Chris Bumstead, okay? And then you add muscle to it, and that makes you a freak. If Chris Bumstead's waist were 3 inches wider, he would get his ass kicked in classic physique. It just wouldn't work. If he went and lost muscle and did men's physique, he would probably still be winning because his waist is so small and he's hot and good looking, which helps obviously, but it's all about that small waist. Okay, so I just wanted to explain that. I added Femra, 1 milligram a day. Femra is an anti-estrogen, okay? It's very strong, so it really kills your estrogen to nothing. This usually destroys guys' sex drive. So you might think all these guys prepping for shows are on so much testosterone, they want to sex all the time, their women have to, half the guys aren't having sex at all. Now me personally, I want to have sex a fair bit. So even with Femra, I still want to have sex more than my girlfriend would want to, for example, which sucks. But anyway, that's a different topic. So the Femra makes me more dry, and I would, at 1 milligram a day, I used to do more, but I was like, man, I don't need more. I'm going to be dry enough anyway. And by probably day 5, I could really notice drier joints and training was harder and it just felt funny. It's a different feeling. You can get injured more. You will notice that. I used to add Femra earlier, but I just don't think you need to do it so early. Some people are using ephemera for like months. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with you people? That would suck. All right. I still did VAR at 40 milligrams. I still did GW at 20 milligrams. And I added this. Halo, 10 milligrams on crappy days. Crappy days were almost all days. But in particular, leg day. I didn't do it on biceps and shoulders and calves day. I find that's an easy day for me. But man, adding 10 milligrams of Halo is such a difference. It's like, it feels like adding ephedrine without the stimulant part of it, but you're at the gym and you have more energy and you can go harder. It's kind of like adding GW and ephedrine, but a less jittery ephedrine. If I had to explain Halo, it made me more like, I guess, angry, more aggressive. Even in my videos, I'd be like, ah! That's like Halo doing that, I think, you know? It really does amp you up in a certain way. But I definitely love it. It's hard on your liver. And that's only at 10 milligrams, people. I would take 30 and 40. I've taken 50 at a time in the past. This is 10 milligrams. That's all I took here. So it's not like a lot for me, okay? Proviron I also added at 25 milligrams twice a day. And I'm telling you, in 45 minutes, if I take Proviron, even at 25, I feel like almost like tingles going down my arm. And like, I look more dry. It's almost like I'm like shredded all of a sudden. It's like when you're super lean, Masteron and Proviron and Halo, anything that dries you out and makes you look ripped, it really makes you look significantly better. But when you're at like 12%, which is still very awesome for like an off-season bodybuilder, you're still gonna have six-pack and all that, you won't notice it that much. And if you're fat, you're not gonna see anything. You'll have increased sex drive for sure. But when you're shredded, like 5%, like I reached under 5% at this show. It wasn't the leanest I've ever been. The leanest I've ever been was 3 years ago at my previous show. And I was also 8 pounds bigger. But I couldn't do a vacuum back there. No way. I couldn't do a vacuum at all till this year. And then I practiced. And then all of a sudden, the feedback was my front double bicep vacuum was the best out of everybody, which is shocking to me. I thought, oh, I have to do this stupid vacuum. I hate vacuum. I like ab posing. And all of a sudden, vacuum, and it's like, oh, you're vacuum. So it's so strange that you can go into a show, think your vacuum's going to suck, and then all of a sudden it's awesome, and it's so weird. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, I guess it shows that practice can help, and, you know, and it's awesome. You can practice something and get good at it and then show it on stage, and it can make a difference. However, it didn't help me judge and place any better, but that's a different topic. T3 was up to 20 milligrams twice a day. So you have to raise it and try to burn more fat. Body's getting used to it. Clen, 25, and then it kept building up from there, 25 and 30, then 35 and 40. So I'm up to 40 micrograms of Clen, because as I don't feel the Clen, I add more. Okay, next. All right, so we're a week out. Monday to Thursday. Okay, so Clen I built up from 50 to 60 micrograms. GW stayed at 20. T3 went to 25 and 25 twice a day. And then I built up to 30 and 30. So twice a day, 30 micrograms. Fragment went to 500 micrograms twice a day. From the previous week was at 350, and the previous week was at 250. Always have to up that dose of that frag. Proviron went up to 25 milligrams 3 times a day. VAR, I lowered it to 20 milligrams because I had added the Proviron in, and so I was upping the dose. I'm like, the orals, I don't need all this stuff. Proviron, Halo, I was taking 10 milligrams twice a day, so I just needed less VAR because I'm adding more orals. And sleeping pills, I had added Zopicone during the middle of the night when I woke up, because even the THC, which was up to like 40 milligrams, whatever it's called, milligrams, it wasn't even helping enough. Like, the sleep is just getting horrendous here. Like, I'm in peak week, carb deplete, ketosis, the whole garbage, can't think. Sleep is the problem. So anyway, I added that. Okay? I did my last shot. I don't know, I didn't even write it down. Why didn't I write it down? Oh, I did. Tuesday, I did 550 milligrams of Masteron and 100 milligrams of Primo on Tuesday. That was my last shot, okay? So I upped the dose there, and I did my last shot, 550 plus 100, so that's like 650, and it's mostly the Masteron because that's like the more hardener, just like, you know. Now, in the past, I would have done at least double that, and so it was, you know, you can take it for what it is. That's how much I did. Well, there we go. What else? Oh, we're going right to Friday. Okay, on Friday, this is the weigh-in day. I'm doing Halo 10 milligrams twice a day. VAR, I did twice a day, 20 milligrams. Because I'm not doing any injectables, I'm just trying to get more pills in me, I guess. And Proviron, 25 milligrams 3 times a day. I would have done 50 3 times a day back in the day, but I'm just trying to be healthy, and I didn't need it, whatever. Saturday. Okay, this is show day, so this is different because I'm going on stage in the morning. So I wake up and I take 20 milligrams of Anavar right away, okay? Then I take 10 milligrams of Halo and 50 milligrams of Proviron about an hour to an hour and a half before going on stage. Because as you know, Proviron is like, boom, I can notice it right away, and Halo energy, boom, and it's good. And so that's what I did. And then later on, I took Proviron 25 milligrams. I took it twice more, so that was 100 total that day. I took 10 milligrams of Halo once more, and I took 20 milligrams of Anavar once more. I'm competing the next day, remember. So Sunday, I do the same thing as Saturday because I'm competing again. So 50 Proviron, 20 VAR, and 10 Halo, all at the same timing and all that stuff. And so that ends it. And then after that, I took nothing, and I have taken nothing since then. And there you have it. So I think I covered everything. Oh, geez, I didn't even talk about diuretics. I didn't write it down. So I didn't take any diuretics, and I stopped drinking water at 5 in the morning. And I was like 189 or 190, and I had to weigh like 185. And so I was like a pound over the weight class an hour and a half before. I was like, oh, should I take a diuretic? No, and I just waited. And I was eating like dry carbs all day, whatever. And then before bed, I took 2 diuretics, like before bed on, what is it? It had been Friday night. This is hydrochlorothiazide, 25 milligrams with 50 milligram triamterene. This is like prescription diuretics you would give for like high blood pressure and whatnot. They're little orange pills. You might have seen them if you're into this. And then I took 1 in the morning, the next morning, like when I woke up. So that's 3 in all. And then I took none. And then I took, what did I take? 2 the night before on the night before the next day. So like it's Saturday night, I went to bed and I took 2 more diuretic because I was drinking a lot of water, and well, not really water, but pop. And so I just want to make sure I was ripped. I ate like a pig, literally till I was so full both nights. And I still woke up and was like, I competed on stage at 187 on the second night, and like 185 point something on the first night. So I was pretty close to that. 185 is my cutoff. I gained like, just a couple pounds, and that's it. And that was my cycle, and that's what I did, and that's how I did it. And so hopefully this was helpful and you were interested and I didn't bore you to death. I know it's a long video, but that explains what I did. And again, don't copy it. Subscribe, like my channel, click the bell button, visit gregdoucette.com for coaching. I coach natural people too, and I coach mostly people who don't compete. Everyone seems to ask that. 20% of my clients have competed or will compete at some point. 80% have never and will never. So most of my clients are just wanting to be healthy and lose weight. You don't have to hire me and take steroids. I don't encourage steroids. I encourage natural. If you need to know about steroids, I can talk about them. But it's not something that I'm like trying to promote or be like, oh, you should take this. I'm not like that at all, okay? People misjudge me a lot most of the time. But anyway, that's it for the video, and I hope you enjoyed.